Are you really struggling from low self-esteem and you are really criticizing yourself from one side, and at the same time you are comparing yourself and really criticizing yourself again? If it's all everything about you, then watch this video till the end, because at the end I'm gonna give you some practice where you can practice to increase your self-esteem and feel much better. Okay. So let's start from the beginning. If you will realize that self-esteem is not something fixed in your life, but it's something that it's very flexible and you can change, and many events and circumstances are actually affecting your self-esteem, it means that you can change the way you think, the way you behave, and at the end you can get this self-esteem that you want. So number one, let's understand what is actually self-esteem, how it was built. So from a CBT point, from cognitive behavioral therapy point, we will say that the self-esteem is actually a number of beliefs, qualities and values that you have inside you. So let's say how it was built. This is very important because we are all humans, and the self-esteem is built from your childhood. The way that your parents were taking care of you, talking to you and communicating with you. So it's all the facts, the way you feel yourself today and the way you're gonna talk to your people around you, their partner, your kids. So there are three criteria that if you are one of them, you definitely need to do something about it. The number one is perfectionism, because perfectionists really trying to do something different than the other, and it's come from a deeper and very core belief about themselves that there is something wrong with them. So once you understand perfectionist is you're trying to be different, and this kind of act, it leads to the very core belief that something wrong with me, I have to do something about it. Yes, then if it's about you, click. The second one, if you're really comparing yourself, because through comparison you want to say, I'm also good. Look at me, I'm also fine. But there is a critical voice that is always in your head and is trying to criticize you more and more and feel this self-esteem. The third one, it's really to be not only criticized, but kind of humiliated. So you are actually looking at others, but you're doing something to yourself internally. So it's really damaging your nature and your life, because at the end, the only person that stays with this feeling is you. What I want to say as well about self-esteem, that there are certain ways that you can change, and cognitive behavioral therapy can help you with that. Number one is identifying your negative beliefs. So if you are, let's say, thinking it was a total failure, I'm a failure, it's definitely dysfunctional thought and dysfunctional belief, where in therapy you can reconstruct it in something more that's gonna serve your life, that's gonna help you. Let's say after some work you can say, oh, yes, I did a mistake, but it's actually a mistake and it doesn't say anything about me. Yes, I can learn something from it, but it doesn't mean that I can try again. And with this functional thought, you can actually do better, you can perform better. So the other thing is that you can identify your negative thoughts about yourself. And in some people, they can really see that there is a pattern the way they look at themselves. So if you are thinking that you are basically having this negative thought that keep repeating, what we call in CBT automatic thought. And let's say this thought is, I'm a failure. So I would ask you, as a CBT psychologist, can you write 3 advantages of this thought exist, or 3 proofs that this thought is actually true? And then on the other column, you can write 3 thoughts against. So basically 3 proofs that it's not true. And at the end, you can restruct it into more functional thought. Let's say if before it was I'm a failure, after some functional CBT work, you can say that, well, actually many people do mistakes and it's okay to learn from my mistakes. And it doesn't mean that I'm a failure, only considering this problem. So this work happened this way, and I think that most of you can work with the self-esteem because it's very flexible quality. You can actually change your self-esteem while doing something. Let's say if you remember that the acts before the motivation, at the slogan that I have, that whenever you feel that you cannot do something, just act, and then the feeling of motivation will come. This is so important in the self-esteem, because once you realize that everything what you're gonna do gonna affect you, everything what you do to yourself, the way you care about yourself gonna affect you, and the most important, the voice that is gonna be in your head, is that voice is more compassionate voice. Are you talking to yourself as a critic, or are you talking to yourself, this part, with the compassion? This is what's really important. So thank you for watching the video, and I believe that every time you're gonna do a little steps towards yourself, you're gonna increase your self-esteem. And always ask yourself, what can I do today to myself that can increase my self-esteem?